All right. We're
I've had a
officially
headache all day long.
all of
What do you?
2020, all of 2022.
Well, no, wait. Hey,
This is
that's
the end
right.
of year. This is the end of
Uh,
year wrap up. Coaches had a
You
headache
can't talk
all
about anything unless it's been year long.
you've had a year long headache just now wrapping up. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. It feels like it might be coming on for next year too. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's going. Will it pause or will it sustain? I guess that's the.
Oh,
trick
I don't know.
question.
I think it's a wraparound headache. Yeah. What do you take? You take a Advil, aspirin? What do you two do?
I like it. We're
Well, this
dispensing
is
medical
fascinating.
advice. Well, Tylenol or Advil. That's usually I usually go Tylenol. Or
Yeah.
or I should say the what is it? The generic CVS version.
Of course,
And,
of course.
what's
yeah.
it called? That whole thing.
Well, I would of course have the HEB extra strength aspirin. That's the brand I would get if I were there.
So you're an aspirin man.
I guess so. I don't really know the difference between all of the Advil, the aspirin, the Tylenol, like all
Well,
those things.
The active ingredient. That's all you need to know.
Well, sure.
Well, yeah, but how they affect you? Not that I'm recommending this, but if you ever have some, serious pain over a long amount of time, you'll learn the finer distinctions between your different pain medications. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, when I had my back injury a couple years back, it's like I became a connoisseur of many of the over the counter stuff and quite a few of the pharmaceuticals, if you will.
I see.
Yeah.
So
man. I feel like this is the start of like a bad movie, and then the next thing
No,
you know,
it's all
you were
fine. Yeah.
running a drug operation, and and something along that line.
Well, what's funny is I'm watching the kids are still kind of watching Malcolm in the Middle, and I keep watching Bryan Cranston thinking about Breaking Bad. I'm like, he's going to tell Lois to fuck off, and then he's going to New Mexico, But yeah, it's no, I mean, just different medications are good for different things.
I see. So wait, are you saying that it's the same character in Malcolm in the Middle and Breaking Bad?
Well, there's kind of like an internet meme that Malcolm in the Middle is the prequel to
That makes
Breaking
sense.
Bad. Yeah,
It kind of
yeah.
is. It kind of fits. I don't know. I guess I haven't seen Malcolm in the Middle in a while, but I don't know. I buy that a little bit. It seems.
Well, he's not very smart and he's not a science teacher, but
yeah.
if you needed to change your life completely, I guess going to New Mexico is a place to do it.
I was
Or
watching
Australia.
I was watching a Seinfeld blooper reel, and he was in that. The Cranston
yeah?
guy was in there, and so he showed up in a few of them. It was pretty funny. But this reminds me, Matt Ray, have you ever in your Australianology, have you ever covered the word jocks with us? Because I've
No.
encountered that several times.
I saw that tweet and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, okay, so there was this video about some. I think I shared it somewhere. Where was it, in Brisbane, maybe? And some guy had run into a fish and chip shop next door to this other guy, and the guy came out of his house, and he's like, I chased this guy who had run, and I chased him down and directed the cops to him. And he's like, but I was only wearing my undies. And then he's talking to the reporter later, and he's like, yeah, but I'm out there in my jocks. And then, so I didn't know if this is just like some one-off thing, But then we're watching that show Bluey, the Australian kids show, and there's an
Okay.
episode called Mr. Jock Monkey, and it's a stuffed animal, a monkey that's just wearing, as they say, jocks, which of course is underwear. So I don't know.
There's a lot of regional terminology. I think they have a couple dozen words for swimsuits and and flip flops or thongs or tongs or togs or whatever they want to call them.
Okay. All right. Well,
So
that one on the
maybe it's a
list.
Queensland thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I'm not gonna add it to my daily vernacular.
I think that's where at the end of Bluey it says it's supported by the Queensland government. So maybe
there
that's
you go.
that's
yeah.
the deal there.
Queensland.
Yeah. Is that how you say it?
Sure, up there with all the crocodiles and mosquito diseases. Queensland.
Yeah. I picked up another phrase from Bluey that you say all the time. He says, "Gotta be done, which I think it just is like, yeah, fuck my life, whatever.
Well, this Bluey sounded pretty dark. I mean, you got people chasing felons in their underwear and
Oh no,
forced
that
child
was
labor. What?
That wasn't in Bluey. That was a news clip.
Okay.
Yeah. It was in YouTube. It was listed as most Australian Aussie ever or something, and chased after a guy.
Yeah,
Ran into
sounds
the fish
about
and
right.
chip shop. Well,
All right. Well, I think this is a momentous day. I actually have the YouTube chat up, so I can actually see.
oh, you
that
can
chat.
moderate.
I can moderate that one and the stream chat and the restream. So it's like we're like professionals. We should have a lot more viewers with this much effort. So I
That's
wish.
good.
No, it's good.
So when someone offers to sell us followers, you can delete them.
Question for you, Cote, from the audience here. Question for Cote: will you be enjoying a glass of wine tonight?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'd like to,
System Sky.
but I ate a little too much lasagna, and so instead of wine at the moment, I'm chugging a bottle of Pellegrino, just slumming it. But I thought that probably was a bad
I don't
idea.
know, but that's the gas, right? The water with gas after
Yeah.
lasagna. That's I don't know, man. That's
Also, it may not be good for podcast recording because I'll be like,
I feel like you've both eaten and brought the wrong drink to this episode. This could go a lot of directions.
yeah. Maybe before we start, I should go get. I mean, I want a glass of wine.
Nothing new there.
I'm glad I
I'll
have
get
a
my
reputation.
Coffee and granola. That's how to start the day.
Let's see. I'm going to say we're recording the end of year episode of Software. That's our show, Software.
Yeah, we just did everyone's annual review. I got an A, Cote got an A, and Matt gets an F. So that was the rating.
Oh.
Everybody got it. Matt is on the performance plan. He's on the performance plan. So we're
He's
gonna see how it goes.
he's gonna
officially
go
on the tip. So
he's
we'll
gonna
see
go
how
on
it goes.
go on a bender and end up running in the streets in his
We did.
jocks.
That was the annual reviews, and
Man, you show up 5 minutes late for a podcast and you're on review for the whole next year.
absolutely. He did not have good news when asked about his performance. He performed poorly. So
Nothing but a bunch of
also didn't
excuses.
accept the hardcore challenge. The hardcore, like I sent out in Slack, we sent out a put an emoji here if you agree to be a hardcore podcaster for the next year. And he didn't do it. So
Wait.
what was that?
You
I can't
haven't
remember what
seen the
it was.
photos
It's
of me
something-
sleeping in the office.
That's right. Software defined talk is going hardcore. Is that what would that even look like? Think about how ridiculous that's even just saying that. Like, what would we even do? I was live streaming for 48 hours straight. It was the greatest thing ever.
Nobody wants that.
We could go to bed with the streaming going and just be like sleep with the host.
We're just leaving.
You know, they
That
probably
would be
have
funny.
that.
Like I'm
Yeah.
sleeping at the office and you just literally live stream it all day. And you're like,
Well,
yep.
remember like the early
That'd be
days
good.
of Jenny Cam and various
Yeah,
web
yeah.
things. I
Justin
guess
TV.
people are still doing that, right? Somewhere,
Mm,
obviously, right?
I guess. I mean, everything
Maybe.
is everyone's
Yeah.
doing everything.
What a world!
What a
Put them on performance plans.
Why does the Wicked Witch say "What a world" when she gets killed?
I thought you said I'm melting.
Didn't she say "What a world"? What a world?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
Which I don't know which version of maybe there's an alternate version you watched. I don't know. I think I'm melting. Is that seems like for sure.
Pretty
The,
canonical.
Well,
yeah.
I think she says that, but then I think, I'm going to look this up. God damn it.
Cote hasn't had his wine or his Adderall.
I learned that I heard that Adderall is illegal in the Netherlands. Is that
Really?
is Adderall like some you can make it into
Well, it's
an illegal
prescription.
substance?
It-
Yeah,
it's,
but I think they just don't have it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
that's awesome. They just don't have it.
They just don't have any ADHD.
No, they have the other one, Ritalin.
Oh,
I think they're different for different purposes. Now we're like way off topic though. I don't know.
Oh, is this like an Advil, Tylenol, aspirin situation?
well, yeah, they're all used for.
I think one is
Yeah.
supposed to calm you down and one is supposed to focus. I don't know. Maybe that's one and the same, but
Well, I think
that's my rudimentary understanding.
yeah. Obviously, none of us are on it because we'd have strong opinions. I'm just kind of like, meh, whatever.
Yeah. That's true.
All right. Well, did you find out what the Wicked Witch of the West says at the end?
Oh no, I was
Are we ready to start? You know, you
I
got
was
sidetracked in a
you got
sidetrack.
a little Adderall. Just keep focused. It's like
no, I
every time-
actually
Try to
was
look up something
focusing.
different.
I was promoting our recording in
Oh,
all of
that's
my
even
social
better.
channels.
Even better. You know what? You just went up a little bit in the
What
performance.
is
Good
the-
job. Good job.
what is the
Wait,
Wicked
wait.
Witch?
Excellent.
I've got an
excellent.
F and he's got an A plus.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Have you,
got a-
have you
got A
tweeted out
plus
anything
plus.
today? No. Raise your hand if you tweeted on behalf of Software Defined Talk today. I have.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
guys. Matt, no. Again, add it
Can I
to
get
the
to it?
performance improvement plan. Right
and
there.
not
feels-
not only am I wearing my jocks, I'm wearing them under my pants.
That's right. It's kind of true, but APAC is usually like last and everything. They're like, it's like, what's going on in APAC? Did they do
Yeah.
anything? Does anybody know? Right? Like, it kind of nerves the sense of it all.
It's cutting a little close
Yeah,
to
look,
home.
here we go. Here we go. She does say I'm melting, but at one point she's like, "Oh, what a world! What a world! Who would have thought that some little girl like you could destroy my beautiful wickedness?"
That is how it ends.
Well, according to the internet, I'll put it here in the chat.
All right.
I mean,
well, listen, can't be wrong. Good memory, Kote. If you
Well, now we have a show title.
what a world! Oh boy. Should I do the whole show in my wicked witch voice?
Absolutely.
no, absolutely not.
You'll
Wait,
get
I
an
mean, if
F.
you're looking for 24/7 live streaming content, I think Kote doing
Although this
Wizard
is
of Oz is a one-man performance with voices. That's got to be
I
up
can
there.
tell. Brett asked Matt if you're gonna rage quit Software Defined Talk. That may finally break this YouTube channel out of its doldrums. If you like provide some
Ooh.
type of, you just like have some kind of meltdown and start throwing things, it'd be like, all right. Now
You
people
know-
be
you
like,
know-
go check it out.
And now we
See
know what
that?
you can say at the end of your meltdown. What a world! What a world!
Yeah, that would be the end, right? Like if you're just like, I can't take all this nonsense talk about the Wicked Witch of the West and just like went into some tantrum. No, that would be some.
See,
good-
that's
That'd
the
be
problem
sweet.
with like rage quitting when you work from home. It's like you're gonna break your own stuff.
like it's just like it's like just go for a walk. You know, that's
Yeah.
what you should do. Like before you rage quit, just go walk around. For an hour.
Yeah.
All right, Kote, we ready?
Yep. Their
Yep.
phone.
I've got my Pellegrino here, ready to go.
I've got my tap water.
All right, let's do it.
All right. How do you say the last name? Eagle?
Brian White Eagle.
Oh, wow. White Eagle. Huh. Well, we have a question in here from Brian White Eagle who asks, I want y'all to, I'm going to read this as written. What's the deal with daytime running headlights? Why don't people turn on their headlights? Is it required by law in the US, Canada? Is it uncool to turn on your headlights at dusk or during the day? There's a lot going on in this question. So first of all, I want to key in on the second sentence. Why don't people turn on their headlights? So I'm going to assume, I mean, I'm no Captain Columbo here, but I feel like maybe what Brian is saying is people should have their lights on, right? Or I don't know, maybe he's just being really kind of going in there with the neutral thing and being like, that would be a great piece of rhetoric, is just like, you should always tweak a sentence to make someone assume you're coming from a different bias than you are, to get them off their footing, and then victory, because that's what conversation is about.
I like how you assume that most people like listen to a sentence and they're like, I'm here for a structured debate. And while the rest of people are like, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
But I like this question, but I think the answer to this question, I think, is the most software defined talk answer that we can possibly give. It's like my answer to this is like whatever the defaults of the car are. When I turn on the car and I back out, like some cars, like depending on what you have, like some cars will automatically turn on the lights even in the daylight. Some will have like some kind of running lights. Some of them won't do anything. So it's during the day, I literally just do whatever the car does by default. And that is like, and if there's a customization of it, it's literally probably how the dealer or wherever I got the car, I probably just left it set exactly as it was before. I actually give it no thought. I don't when I see running lights. And then I noted when we got this question, I was driving around a little bit. I was like, yeah, it is kind of inconsistent. Like there are like some cars that always have them on. There's some cars that don't. There's some cars that have running lights, and I actually have no idea why. I don't know what, like, I couldn't even tell you like what's legal or not legal. So I don't know. What's it like in Australia, Matt? Is there?
Well,
is there
that's
anything
what I
like
was
this?
going to say. The precursor to the defaults lifestyle is the legal lifestyle, right? So, do they have a law that says you have to have running lights on? Australia doesn't, as far as I know, unless I'm breaking the law. But bringing the expat viewpoint is like things that you might not, you kind of have to learn these things. Like if you look around and everyone's doing something, like Australia, there's no left on red. The equivalent being right on red in the U.S. Of course. You don't do it, and it's only if there's a sign that says you can do it. And as an American, I was just kind of like, I did it a few times, and then my children quickly corrected me.
Oh.
Now, is it ever just so? Is it the opposite? So the default is no left on red, and there's a
Correct.
sign that says
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
So you
completely
sit, you're
opposite
sitting at an
from that.
intersection. There's no cars in sight, but you're like, this is like sitting at a red
Okay.
light. Yeah.
So it's
because you're
I
at a
like it
red
because
light.
it's 180 degrees in the U.S. where default is right on red unless there's a sign that says no right on red. So it does.
Right.
There's some symmetry.
And not only is it
Do it.
the opposite, of the rule, you're going left instead of right.
Yeah. Well, that would in itself, I would just like wreck seven. I would kill myself. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
they-
able to drive in Australia. I don't know.
No one does a right on red around here either, which makes sense after a while because you're like, because I'm gonna kill some fools on bikes if I'm doing all of this. Like, so you definitely you just wait.
Are there running lights in Amsterdam? Though? What's the?
Oh yeah. We got the usual cars here, and I think it's like you're saying. Sometimes the lights are on, sometimes they're not off. I mean, this introduces geographically another interesting question. What's the deal with running lights on bikes? When do you have them on? Definitely, people don't have them on during the day. There was the other day; it was very foggy, and some people had them on.
But there are laws about it though, right? It's just
Yeah.
If you're a bike rider, and
I'm
you
pretty
don't
sure
wanna
you
get
have
hit,
to.
No.
I think I'd have to go check. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure you need to have your lights on at night, and definitely at night you need to have a red light on the back and a white light on the front.
Oh wow.
And so there actually is like, I mean, any store you go to, you can buy. They have these cool little like they're not clip on, but what is that stuff? Like the silicone kind of, I don't know what to call
Electric
it.
tape.
Yeah, it's not, but anyways, it's like a really ingenious kind of way you can just clamp these little tiny lights on your bike, and so which is also funny. Sometimes you'll go around and you'll see people who are living. I don't know. This wouldn't be the defaults lifestyle. This would just sort of be the pylon lifestyle, where they've got like 5 or 6 of these lights like strapped onto their bike because a battery died and they just bought a new one. And they just, put another one
awesome.
on. Yeah, it's actually quite a thing around here
Can't be bothered to
to remove it.
Wow,
That's kind of
and
interesting because
disposable lifestyle.
I assume lights on bikes are like universal in Amsterdam or in
Yeah,
because here in the US it's like not as universal, right? Like you'll find people without lights, and I don't know. It's a different culture, I think.
Yeah, and the Dutch being well coordinated, sort of what's the word? Living together with freedom by following a core set of rules. Like everyone turns them on at night. Like it's they're very, very mindful of it. It's quite nice. I think I follow your thing, Brandon, where I just more or less do whatever. I assume the car is on auto all the time, kind of to the point where like I'll be driving around at night every now and then, and if I've done something, it'll take me a while to realize the lights aren't on. Like I just it doesn't even occur to me.
Yeah, especially if there's like good like street lights. I've done that several times where you're just it seems what do they say? It's like automation. That's like you get too
Invisible.
dependent on it. I don't know what it is, or some statement, right? And then you just suddenly you're like you can't even turn on the lights anymore. You don't even have time. So
yeah. Well, you know what one of those famous Australians said: "Don't get addicted to water." It's
Yep.
don't depend on it.
There are no running lights in Mad Max. I'm just saying.
They're just running flames.
That's right.
Just cannons going everywhere. So I think I think that's the deal with running lights. Maybe there are. You know what? I want to before we move on. I want to ask, what is the deal with parking lights? Like those seem like I don't know why those exist. Like, is there a point where I don't think you need parking lights. I think is what it comes down to.
It's a good question. I don't know. That's going to require more research. I don't know. That's back to the defaults. Like, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like, yeah, because if you are literally parked and not going to be moving for a while, therefore, I guess that's the point. I guess it becomes like that point. It's just lights to make sure that people see there's an obstacle in the way, right?
Yeah,
My last car, the parking lights were broken for years. And I'd go into the shop and I'd ask the guy, "Hey, can you take a look at that?" And he's like, "I don't know, mate." And it'd be like, every time I ask him, it'd be like $100. So I just, the warning light was always on, and it was fine.
That's it. You don't really want your car mechanic when you're asking about replacing a light bulb to be like, I don't know if I can do that.
Somewhere there'd be like an electrical wire was loose, and he would fix it.
Oh,
and then,
I see.
30 minutes later, it would stop working again, and whatever.
Very honest though. That's what we need. I don't know. Sometimes that's kind of actually
that's why I have a new car, right?
Yeah. Why pretend?
This car's got to go.
Car repairs.
It's coming for you.
You
don't want to pay me that much money.
That's to make another reference. That's like a Dutch doctor. Remember when I went and I thought I was having heart problems, and he was like, "Do 3 squat thrusts, and if you can do that and not die, you're fine." It's like, ooh. And here I am. He was right. Good old Dr. Skateboard.
Oh, geez. Not dead yet.
Well, yeah, I don't even know if my car has parking lights on it. I'd have to go check and see what they are. That's something we'll have to do for research is I would really, how there's like a cheat sheet of the care and laundry symbols that are on clothes, and it turns out there's like 30 of them or something. Like I want one of those cheat sheets for like all the car icons. Because like my lights have a wheel, and there's a wheel that has various stages of lights on it, and they're all kind of inscrutable. And, because they're all basically just like 3 lines coming out like a sun. And so maybe you just put some text on there. Like that would be cool.
Isn't this like what you do like when you're in anything that's like that? You just try all the settings until you find one you like, and you're just like, okay, that's what I'll do. You just click. I don't know. That's good. It is true. Like all the icons on cars, especially the data, they don't seem well thought out. Maybe they need to move to emojis.
That would be a good idea. And then also, I think now that the EU has finished, we're all going to have USB-C for our phones. The next thing they should move to is all car manufacturers should operate the windshield wipers in the same way.
Oh,
the same exact controls.
Oh, yeah. I could get behind that one. Let me know. Yeah. Let me know when that's a lobbying effort I definitely want to get behind.
Because that is also inscrutable. Well, so that was a question we had here for the end of the year. The running lights. I think we nailed that one. Whether you got 4 wheels or 2 wheels, a motor or meat motor, we got things going there. Now, Brandon, you have put together a series of end of year prompts, and I like this because it's not so much a prediction as what do you think about. Right now, prediction always fraught, always weird, and of course, I'm going to go ahead and do the responsible thing, and I'm going to do the annual software defined talk prediction. It's going to be pretty much the same as it was last year, just a little bit more in both directions. And so that's what's going to happen.
That's right.
Wow, that's a bold call.
Yeah. Well, I thought on the prompts, I'll start us off for a second. But I thought like if you feel the need to make a prediction at any point, go right ahead. But I do, as I listen to all the prediction episodes, I think to myself like, well, I don't know. Unless you have like some really strong prediction and you want to put something like some type of wager on it, it's just like, it's just another topic, right? So we'll see. I bet you, as we discuss some of this, one of you or myself will make some predictions. So I thought we'd get it started though, thinking about what were the major stories around cloud and the hyperscalers. And so I'll set it up one. It's kind of close to home for you, Cote, but I thought probably the biggest thing that happened was the acquisition or the announced acquisition of VMware by Broadcom. And I think, obviously that's important for all the VMware people like Cote and others. But
yeah.
I think the thing that makes it, kind of like the most important story, at least related to cloud this year, was the fact that none of the other hyperscalers, Google, Oracle, AWS, Azure, anywhere, got involved, at least that we know of, right? They didn't make a big pitch. They didn't buy it, because what it sets up to me is that VMware will remain, at least the workloads of VMware will remain independent inside of Broadcom. And, the thing that I think I like to make fun of, about like, we're always in the quote unquote early innings. And I was thinking about, well, what is the total addressable markets? I did a little math. It says like, well, let's assume all the hyperscalers today have like somewhere between like 150 to $200 billion. And I think the total addressable market for this going forward is basically 1 trillion. So I'm going to say we're between 15 to 20% all the way through. And with the VMware staying independent, like the fight going forward, or the battle going forward, will be, okay, between all the hyperscalers and VMware, who can maintain what workloads, and who's going to eat up kind of that 1 trillion, if you will, annual revenue going forward. And I think that'll probably, so you kind of like work at the back of the math, that'll probably take somewhere between 7 and 10 years with a 20% growth rate. So most of the clouds are growing faster than that today, but I assume as the numbers get bigger, they'll come down. So that's kind of the battle. I kind of think to myself of, okay, the next 7 to 10 years, the battle is this 1 trillion. It's all going to be fought out. If someone had taken a big acquisition of VMware, I'll just throw GCP as an example. Like if they had bought VMware, I'd be like, ooh, that sort of maybe resets the battlefield a little bit, at least but since that didn't happen, I think it's going to be, AWS, Azure, GCP, probably something like 50, 30, 20, some kind of like that going forward. That at least is probably the revenue numbers that they're thinking. So I set the table there. I don't know. Is that, Coach, you like that analysis? You agree, disagree? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I like the numbers-based thing. You started with the NTAM. You did some calculations in there. Very good. That was. I think that's the way you got to do this kind of analysis. You just sort of you arrive at a number that feels intuitive, and it seems about 5 to 20% more accurate than the sort of reasoning that venture capitalists use. They're putting money somewhere, which I think is a high degree of accuracy. I like that, and it is. You're making me think like obviously I don't have anything to say about my employer VMware, but like I'm trying to think of like historic analogs of like the cloud companies buying like non-cloudy companies like that, or like what would be not in the cloud space, but like in other areas where like Microsoft must have done this here and there, where they purchased
Absolutely.
like previous rival now partner companies or something like that.
I think the mainframe. I think go back to like CA and BMC and like rolling up all this mainframe and all the MIPS. So like back in that day, they'd be talking about MIPS. Who's going to own all the MIPS going forward? So I think you had CA, BMC, and then IBM sort of rolled that market up. Go ahead.
I think there's that, but as we see different cloud companies put like different properties they own in their umbrella of cloud, where Microsoft defines cloud as including Office 365, where you're like, well, how does that compare to GCP, right? Well, I guess Google's got Google Workspaces or whatever, but this was an opportunity for someone to take a big chunk and add it to their cloud bucket, so they could move out of their 20%, 40%, whatever bracket they want, where they could just kind of nudge that number and make it look much bigger for the year. And going forward, include it, because in the Software Defined Talk Slack, there was someone posted a graphic of how the different clouds are broken down by their revenues, and inside the Azure one, it included like Surface laptops and LinkedIn and GitHub, and you're like, well, I guess so, right? But it was how did these companies make money? But people slowly forget about the other parts of what actually constitutes Microsoft versus Amazon, and they're just they conflate these things. And so if you wanted to like make yourself look bigger, you grab something that inflates that number, even if it's just temporary. But I think VMware is temporary on like a 10-year horizon.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the thing going forward. Is does VMware and maintain its independence, right, and kind of like, if you will, hold a big chunk of that money, or at least software licenses going forward, or do people, are they successful? And probably the more likely scenario is like just running VMware in the clouds. That's why I think, if you're Broadcom, I see what they're trying to do. It's like, hey, we can be a part of all these clouds and we can run a really profitable business. So that makes sense. But I do think AWS still leads the way, right? So I think if I'm in OP1, OP2 planning for AWS, or like I'm Selipsky and thinking about it, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, my goal is to get this to a $500 billion run rate, right? That'll probably that's like, if I'm working on that for the next 10 years, to be like, okay, I want to own 50% of that $1 trillion market. That's probably what I go in and my pitch, right? And so it'll be interesting. Like I'd love to see what they think, right? I mean, I wish they would just come out the next AWS reInvent. Like, here's what we're working for. Here's the numbers we're going for. But that to me seems to be because they are the number one. And then it's like, does Microsoft and Google maintain 2 and 3? And then Oracle of late, right? I mean, especially towards these acquisitions and this like focus on solutioning. Can Oracle like make a big push, right? And I think
that's what the
I
Cerner acquisition is, right?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. That was the thing I just kind of put on here. It's kind of boring, but that Cerner acquisition is just like, it's just another huge cash cow we never think about and we never talk about much. And it's like, and it's probably not cloud, but it probably is the kind of thing that's going to make Oracle a ton of money, and we'll just forget about it. So it'll be interesting going forward to see how it all plays out. And I think maybe to wrap this topic up a little bit is like, I think the Red Hat, it's been out for a while, the acquisition by IBM, and it's like, it feels like it's kind of come and gone. Like, I don't know, it's sort of just settled in as part of IBM. I feel like it's not bad, but it hasn't like reshaped anything. I don't know, Kute, any thoughts on Red Hat and IBM? You think have I missed anything?
I think in general, like, I mean, it's kind of part of the whole thing is like, not much crazy happened in big cloud.
Yeah,
like it's just sort of like, and we talk about this every time earnings come out. It's just like, yeah, or at least I do. And just I don't know what to say. They made a lot of money. Like it just but I think what's more interesting is the analysis you were kind of alluding to is like, well, now what it's time to do is make money, right? Like we're sort of like, and obviously things like the AI stuff kind of show that there is interesting new innovations, but it's like, yeah, we've like done all the stuff more or less, right? And so like it's innovated, and now like what you see is people are well, at least what I see, but like people are interested in like helping develop application developers out more. So hopefully we won't just like get obsessed with infrastructure now that like and kind of reset that again. So you can go like up the stack and mess around with tools and stuff, which I don't think is. I mean, it's kind of strategically interesting because that's not really a strength of Amazon or Google.
No,
like doing developer tools, which I wonder who might be really strong at developer tools in the category there, and so like that is an I can't think of the phrase, but that's an area of competition that Microsoft is just incredibly well positioned to seriously win on. If you focus primarily on application developers, I'm pretty sure Microsoft is going to do very well, versus the other two, who both have tools. Well, I don't know. Does Google have developer developer IDEs and things like that, or is it more?
I mean, they've got their own cloud desktop thing. They partnered with IntelliJ.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
And
that's
so
not what they're
known.
They're known more for like the libraries and languages rather than the tools.
Yeah. So maybe when we did a prediction show on one of my work podcast, I the way I wangled this, Brandon, is instead of being predictions, I called it predictions and hopes and dreams. And because really that's what you learn when you do predictions is basically you just have it be your hopes and dreams. Never mind the prediction thing. And so I think in this category, my hope and dream is that we all just finally quit dicking around with infrastructure and like get back to like application.
That is the dream, Cote.
I know. That's what we need to do there.
All right, well, that's good. I like it. We'll leave it on that hope then. Let's move beyond infrastructure. Now, the other big topic that I think just was like an ongoing, and it still is an ongoing topic, but is this whole like, work from home, remote work versus in the office and things like that. So, and this sort of kind of picks a little bit up on the pandemic is that it seems like the world in most parts of the world are now returning to like pretty, at least normal, the ability to have whatever a quote unquote normal workplace is. So I guess I'd start with the question here is, if the pandemic sort of opened up the door to like potentially like remote work, I think the economic downturn, not a recession, as I've learned, just an economic downturn that we're going through, as sort of if you will, it's kind of going to lead to a reset, or at least this is what I think is happening, right? Is that like, well, now suddenly it's like, employees have less power, right? I mean, I don't know what else to say other than it's just like, yeah, lots of changes. So it'll be clear that if employers want you back to work, that as an employee, it'll at least be more difficult for you to go get a job. So I guess maybe start with you, Matt. Like, what is your take on like work from home, remote work? Was it a passing fad because of the pandemic, or will there be some type of
there you go. I think work from home is over, just like COVID's over.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I like that. There's a lot.
I mean, the reality is, for I'm very fortunate to have a job where I work from home, but I feel like, we're seeing all these stories about layoffs and, come back to the office, or we're going to lay you off. But at the same time, you also see all the stories about how people can't hire enough, engineers, and how there's all these jobs. And so maybe there's more. We're still settling these things out, right? It's for folks who want to be in an office, there's definitely going to be employers there for you. And I think if you want to work from home, there's still such a shortage of, talent is unevenly distributed. And so if working from home is your priority, there are definitely employers who are more than happy to accommodate you, and they're hiring.
There was a story somewhere in the past few days about how I don't know if it was from Indeed.com or from some job site, about how while there were layoffs and a percentage point or two reduction in like at tech companies for job posts and all other like industries, like there's still like a huge need for for like technical staff. So I think it's just like, I don't know if this is true, but I think the story there is that all these tech companies way overhired when their share prices were up, and now they need to get rid of. Now they would like to control costs, which means getting rid of people. Whereas all the other companies who have been complaining about not being able to find people, they were not. They were, to use my joke, it's not that they were wartime CEOs, it's that they were CEOs. And they just like already were not overspending on things, and it was all fine. So, I think for what I can tell, like it seems like people don't really want to go back to the office full time. So I don't know, maybe they won't. Like it seems pervasive enough that would be the case. But there was, I have been, I feel like all of my podcast listening now is from the Ben Thompson world of podcasting, the universe, since he has so many. And he had a good, he worked at WordPress at some point. And this topic came up, and he had a pretty, not as always, but as frequently, a kind of a good way of analysis of it. And he was saying, WordPress is famously all remote globally. And he said, the like a critical thing that made that work, or an important thing that makes it work, is all communication was basically asynchronous. And if you're doing synchronous communication, it's really hard to be in a different time zone or even like working at home. Whereas if the expectation is always that not only could that meeting have been an email, that meeting is an email. That like, it only exists like in a chat thing and you have to write it up, which also fits with being WordPress. That as long as you have that kind of like asynchronous communication, it actually works pretty well. And I think, I think what he's getting to there is that there's a lot of friction of working from home, because it becomes kind of it becomes more of asynchronous work, where you either that or you just like on meetings all day, which seems stupid. So it's just like, I think that's the thing, is you have to figure out like a slightly different way of working. But even on the company side, it seems like the potential savings you have are like so vast that it's fine. And then plus, my thing is always like, I think people probably work more than they actually need to. Like, and so like, if you find yourself like doing a bunch of like wasted work, then I think most of that happens when you're in the office, just like messing around, waiting on things, having a meeting. Like if you have this notion that, people need to look busy or something, then They should just get paid the same exact amount, if not more, and do less work. That is my platform.
I like it. I can get by. Well, I'm gonna steal maybe your thing. So my hope here, Cote, I'm gonna say this is like my hope in 2023 is that this kind of gets worked out. Like, so we can stop having this discussion of like, is remote work better than in person and vice versa. And I think the part that I do think will happen is that regardless if it's like industry wide, if it's good or bad, if there's some like, official ruling, is like everyone probably knows like this past year probably has revealed about your company. Is it a company that supports remote work or doesn't? Like, now, like if you're at a company that has tried to spend the last 6 months trying to get you to come back, that's not a remote first company versus like what you were just saying about WordPress, right? It's like that's a remote company, right? And then,
can't be hardcore.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and like obviously the three of us work at companies that are remote friendly, at least for the three of us. Like it's never been an issue. Like it isn't an issue because I've been in a place, and so maybe in the end the hope is like self-selection just happens, right? And it's like okay,
Nice.
and unfortunately I think there is a little bit unfortunate. It's like it's unfortunate it has to like be coupled with economic downturn, but like sometimes that's what reveals. Like you kind of know now, like if you're gonna go work at this company that they want you in the office.
Things don't shake out in like, standard, normal day-to-days. It's, when there's some sort of event to force the action.
Yeah. And also, I haven't really like worked in an office since 2011. And then before that for a long time, except when I was at Dell. And so I don't even know what I would do in an office. Like when I have gone into an office, the first thing I do is run away from everyone else and get isolated. Not in the COVID sense, but just like
hit up the snack bar.
Yeah. And I try to like avoid like getting entangled with too many people because I'll just spend the whole time. I mean, that's not exactly an accurate characterization because when I'm traveling and I go to remote offices, I try to talk with people since I don't see them very much. But like, I don't really, and then also in the role that I have, like, I don't know what I would do in the office. Like, I wouldn't have any coworkers. So, however, like thinking about it, I mean, I think the main struggle is like time zones, basically. And if you don't have, if you can't maximize on that asynchronous communication, like, if I want to talk to someone in California, someone's going to be getting up at like 7 a.m. or I'm going to not have dinner. Like, it's just like, it doesn't really, it's worse for you, Matt, but like things are just like crazy, right? And so time zones is like almost the more difficult problem, I think, for like office workers than like working from home stuff. Cause really like, I still, and again, I'm struggling because I haven't worked in an office for a long time. I just don't really know what people do in an office than what's different than like just being on a Zoom call or sending an email to someone.
I don't know if it's a function of working at a all remote company, but we had an in-person get together. Everyone came and we worked together for a week and did stuff, and there were not just myself, but like a fair number of folks were like, I'm gonna go have some quiet time in my hotel room. It was like too much socialization, and I don't know if it's because we were like chose to be remote people, but there were a fair number of folks who were just like, I need this is just too much people.
Yeah.
Well, I do think though, I'm going back to the future. The other part I hope is that the conversation can move between remote work and in-person work, and it can move back to like, okay, well, there does seem to be this divide between, let me just call it the workers wanting to be, remote and management wanting to be in the office. And if someone could go to the next level, like, well, why is that? Like, go one step deeper. Like, what are we asking the remote workers to do? Why do they not want to be in the office? Especially if you, the manager, feel like it's really productive. And I think if people analyzed, wow, the tasks and the jobs are very different and the motivations are very different, maybe that would start to like, if you will, uncover the real problem. Like maybe if the remote workers had different responsibilities or different metrics or different goals, maybe that would lead to a place where they want, that they want to be in the office more, or vice versa. Or like maybe there's things about you can make the management team more comfortable being remote if these things were being done. And I just think that's a conversation that people just keep talking past it. And I think to steal a metaphor you've been talking a lot about this whole year, Cote, you talk about developer toil, right? I just think of it as like knowledge worker toil, right? Like,
For
what are
sure.
all the things that people are asked to do, all the emails, all the things that you're getting. And like, maybe we'll just pick on Twitter for a second as a good example. Like, I don't think any technology professional wants to go in the office and on the spur of the moment be told they want to print out their source code to walk into a review to show what they did or did not do that they don't have any context for. They don't have any relationship with the manager that's reviewing it. They're not sure if it's a performance review or it's seeking information, right? Like, if you just think about that as a really extreme example, and I think I'll let everyone think about themselves and their career. Like, have you ever gotten an email, out of the blue for something that kind of made you feel like, like a little bit uncomfortable? I didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the thing that I think people don't think about, right? It's like, now it's much different if you're the person sending the email or asking it, right? Because you have all the context. Like, if I ask you to come into my office, like, I know why you're coming in. I know why I'm the one driving the conversation. I'm very relaxed, right? Whereas you, like, that could be a source of stress, right? Or at least a source of like, I wish I wasn't here, right? So, but again, like, if you point some of the stuff out, it's like, a lot of times management teams like, well, that's why we pay you. You're going to get a lot. You open yourself to a lot of negative comments. Like, you're not a team player. Why do we pay you? This is what the job is. And it's like, okay, well, then I may silently think to myself, man, I wish I could do this from the house. Sorry, Cote, go ahead.
No, I like where you're going with that. Is a problem of being in the office is you get a bunch of ad hoc ideas and work, and that like maybe we should sit on that for 8 to 24 hours and see if it was a good idea or not, right? Like, it's there's one theory of idea tracking that is like on one side it would be like you always got to have some paper and write down everything that you're thinking. And then the other end of that is like, well, if it was a good idea, you'll remember it. And like, and both of those have their flaws, especially the second one.
Right.
But like, yeah, as you're going over that, I was thinking about, especially when I've been in the office, I don't know if this is a problem I have. Probably what got me, makes me be able to be in podcasting is like, yeah, you just spend a lot of time talking like for hours and hours about shit that doesn't matter because it seems like a good idea at the time. And then the worst situation is that like if you're in a strategy role like I was, if you start talking with someone, next thing you know, you're writing like a 5-page memo and it's 11 p.m. at night that you got to email to someone, right?
Well,
and
so that's the big reveal for 2022 is now ChatGPT will do it for you.
That's right. All right, well, take it. That's perfect then. All right, so let's transition here. Well, I wrote down a bunch of just basically technology kinds of things, and I feel we'll play a little game of like buy or sell. Like, are you buying this technology because you believe it's going up, or are you selling it because it's maybe on the way down? So there's a bunch in here. We can throw them out, but I'll start with one that serverless, right? So like, I feel like serverless in 2021 was like the next big thing. And I feel like 2022 was like, yeah, it's nice. It's a nice integration technology, but not really going to change the world. We're not moving to this event-based architecture where everyone's just calling a serverless function anytime soon. So I'm selling serverless. Matt, what are you doing with serverless?
The guy who no longer works at a serverless company says hold.
Well, all right, I guess
I think
yeah.
I am long-term bullish. I think more and more will continue. It's the destination. I think in the just as Jassy used to say, in the fullness of time, everything's going to the cloud. I say in the fullness of time, everything's going serverless.
Oh my gosh. All right. I don't know if that's buy or sell, but I guess we'll
I said it's hold.
Hold. Okay, hold. All right, Cote, do you have an opinion? Are you buying or are you selling serverless, or holding? I guess is the game now.
No. I think I would definitely sell if I had ever bought in the first place. I think there was a good idea of like a whole lifestyle of programming that existed there, and sometimes it's something maybe, but I feel like, or you're just calling some API on the internet, like whatever. Like, don't make a big deal about it. It's just like,
well, that's what I'm saying, and instead of holding all that code in your own VMs or containers, eventually it's just going to be, I'm calling that off of an API, or, and then it's just going to end up glued together. And
well, I do like it.
You're not going to think of it as serverless. It's just like all I have is a little bit of glue connecting my
I mean,
sashes.
it's the this is I think another way of putting it is we I think serverless perhaps is emerging out of the trough of disillusionment and going into the plateau of productivity.
Okay, fair enough. We could say plateau of productivity. Okay, that's good. I like it.
But
So
I also think that to call it serverless, and I'm not going to make the joke, but it's just sort of like, I don't know. I mean, it's just you remotely call something. But I guess there is. That said, there is something to, well, you do have a control system that like is listening there for you to call it, and then loads everything up for you or whatever. Like that's something that's interesting.
Just less and less machines in the future. That's all
I
I'm
like
saying.
it.
Yeah.
The gamers
Or
buy
knowing that
or
you're a
sell,
machine.
and we've got 2 holds. I love it. Good job, team. That's the. All right, we're moving on. Next one.
I mean, doesn't that make like word isn't WordPress serverless then?
Yes.
Like because it just sits there.
Right, but then,
That's what I'm
then
saying.
it has
Like-
no. But then this is why I'm selling. It's like, but then it's just back to like, okay, you're just back.
But-
to what
but you're not-
back to
you're-
what you had before. Like this is all.
But
the
what
same.
I'm saying is
Nothing
you're not going to
happened.
run your own WordPress container or VM.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
at. I'm
Okay,
saying
okay.
at the fullness, eventually you're going to be like,
I like
why
it. In
am
the
I
fullness
running
of
this?
time. That's
Why
always
am
a
I
great way
running
to
this?
answer these questions. In the fullness of time, right? 1,000 monkeys.
No.
typing.
In the
That's
fullness
always,
of time, I can go the other direction on other technologies, right?
All right, serverless. We've killed that one. All right, blockchain. I'm gonna throw this out. I'll start blockchain. So I'm just totally selling blockchain. Like I think
You still
know,
have
that-
some?
I was just going to say.
There you go.
No, I feel like we.
Wait, you even bought it?
I don't think
Oh.
anyone, but I guess it's the whole. I would say this: it's like blockchain has lived on the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Like it's gonna solve this problem, and we all need to know about it, and we all need to like understand about this distributed trust and the interesting way to solve this problem. And it's like I feel like at this point. It's like there is no more FOMO. Like we'll see it come. Like we won't miss out if something breaks out on the blockchain. If there's some new problem that could never be solved before, it could only use the blockchain. Like we'll notice it, and until then, it's like there's just no more need to.
So
talk
you're
about it.
saying it's in the trough of disillusionment, but it's
I don't
coming
even think
back?
it. Like I just think it sort of like goes on this shelf of like.
No, I'm just.
I know, but
I think it fell down the chasm of nonsense. I think that's what
well,
happened.
I was putting it like maybe like it wasn't like in the 1960s where a lot of artificial intelligence algorithms like were first like invented, and then it took a long time before computing power and there's enough data. And I just feel like that's kind of what this, or maybe you could say like networking and email was invented in like the 70s, but really wasn't until the 90s till it came into fruition.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, maybe in at some point, it's cool that we know about this. It's like
All
on the
right.
bookshelf of computer algorithms, but it's like we don't need it. No one can
Okay,
find any
so
way to really use it. So let's
we're
just
gonna
move
we're
on.
gonna put a pin in it and revisit it in 20 years. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, we'll put it on. Like that'll be in what year? So that'd be 2042. We'll come back and we'll see if anything has happened.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know. Either one of you, like Coach, you have thoughts on the blockchain? Are you buying?
Well, obviously it would be selling. I mean, I think what we've learned and what we should is that you can't really like, and this isn't even to the crypto part, but just the whole notion of like you can't decentralize trust. That's silly, right? Like eventually you need to have like one central place that is just the trusted source of record. And so like this idea of like distributing it around and doing like fancy math to do stuff. But and because then it's just sort of like, yeah, but now we just have a database and let's just run the database. Because I mean, I like there was all those like, helping farmers out and supply chain stuff and all these things. But then it kind of is like, yeah, or just, run it in a database. Like that seems like that would be better than doing this. So it I don't know. I'm suspicious of like we're going to like remove the need for a central authority that we trust in that probably also just runs the stuff for us. Like it doesn't really, I don't really, kind of to your point, I don't really see what you're getting that you can't just do with like a database.
I like it. Matt, buying, selling. What? Any more thoughts on blockchain?
I never bought it.
All right. Well, then we'll do this.
I read through it and I, man. So I disagree that there are some cases where you do need distributed trust, but I have yet to see a business case that holds any water that you need the database part too. Right. So
Matt,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
holding in the fullness of
no,
time.
no,
going
no,
with
no.
that?
I like, I mean, that's I like there are a few small places where like some crypto-esque things make sense temporarily, but it's not going to replace anything.
All right. Well, that leads us to crypto. I kind of broke them out just in case people had different opinions. So crypto, I actually feel like this FTX implosion is just a great capstone.
Oh, it's the cherry on top. Yeah.
It's just like sort of like a great milestone, capstone, whatever, of like, okay, crypto. It's like, okay, we all know about it. It's a game of speculation. Again, we can kind of put that on the shelf and be like, this digital currency stuff, not ready. Whatever it is, not ready. I don't, everyone's tried all these different use cases, store of value, have it actually be a currency, trading. And it's like, it seems like it's good for money laundering. People have agreed to that. And like,
it has been great. I mean,
and that seems like a good use case. Other than that, though, I feel like it's just like, yeah, we don't need to keep talking about crypto anymore. And it's like, yeah, a lot of people, unfortunately, I feel sad for like people that you like put your real money in it and you lost it.
Yeah, it's a digital Ponzi. I mean,
yeah. Other than that, though, it's like, yeah, I feel like we've seen enough. We don't need to. Again, it's back to like the FOMO. It's like if crypto suddenly breaks out, we will all see this coming. I don't think anything is going to happen anytime soon. So I'm ready to kind of retire that topic. I don't know, Cote, you're a crypto millionaire. What are your thoughts?
I think one, I've only realized recently that crypto just means like digital currencies, so that's exciting. But I think. Yeah, it's just sort of like, hopefully we're not shocked every single time some gigantic crypto company turns out to be like just a fraud or like melts down or something. It's just like,
I'm more shocked when I see somebody trying to lean into it still.
Right. I mean, I feel like as is well covered, I have a philosophy degree and a minor in English, so I don't really know economics, but I feel like all of us who at least made it through the 4th grade sort of know that like, so, when it comes to money, which would you rather have? Highly regulated? Not regulated. Highly regulated? Not regulated. And I think they don't let you into 5th grade unless you answer that question correctly. And so like
let's show up with a real fiat dollar, American dollar.
And even when like over on Tyler Cohen's blog, he promoted up some comment that showed that you can use crypto stuff in countries that don't have great regulated money supplies because it can be a better store of value than whatever they're using, right? Which is to use the programmer's gamut, which is always annoyingly like you don't have the problem you think you have or whatever. It's just like, yeah, well, maybe fix the economy there instead of introducing this other thing, right? Like it's sort of like you remember that story of like there was some town, I don't know if this is made up or not, but there was some town that was overrun with little monkeys. So they had the great idea to bring in the bigger monkeys. Uh-oh. And then I think the news coverage was like, bring in the big monkeys to get rid of the little monkeys. What could go wrong? And so I think it just seems like I feel like when it comes to like our generation has learned this, especially like when it comes to like money and your financial sector, you want to regulate the shit out of it because they're always going to be fighting you to unregulate it, right? And so like whatever it is you can do to like try to pile on regulations, you're going to be like 30% successful. So you've got to like pile on 500% effort just to get, I can't do the math there very well.
Yeah, but I mean, the point is like so many of like the best and brightest are trying to undermine the law.
Right. And then that's the hopelessly
everybody wants something for nothing, right?
That's the ridiculous like what would be the way to put this, like optimistic about humanity thing to put this is like if all those people would just take their efforts and just like fix the way money works, then it would be fine, right? Like for example, like I mean if you just had like frictionless like near zero fee like international transfers done. Like if you're worried about like storing value, you just would like transfer it to like whatever a stable currency was, which is going to be hella more stable than some funny name shit like in crypto, right? And so like anyways, that seems like the main problem that you
I think we got it. I think crypto. I think we can officially
so Cote, buy or sell
that. that I think we could sell. All right. Well, maybe not related, but it's I don't know. Feels like a related topic. So I've just put Twitter on here. It's not really a technology or anything. It's just, I don't know. It's like, so I've said multiple times that like, well, I usually vote in favor of the status quo. The status quo bias is so strong that I feel like it usually wins over everything. And that's kind of been my position on this Twitter stuff. Is like, well, it's going crazy, but the status quo is everyone will stay it. But I don't know. I feel like Elon Musk is taking us, like he's taking it to a new level. I've never, like, he just seems to just up the ante every day. I guess now recently he's kicking off journalists and things like that. So it kind of does open the door. Like if the entire news media either gets kicked off Twitter, right, or decides that like they're going to leave and go do something different, like maybe that actually does open the door for like Mastodon or something new to happen. So I don't know if it's like a buy or sell question. It's just like, I guess I would just say this is like, maybe Elon Musk is the
resolution. I think resolution to the question is coming faster than you probably thought a week ago.
Yeah.
I mean, all the stories about, Tesla stock dropping 2/3 this year, ever since the Twitter announcement, and it keeps dropping and it keeps hemorrhaging. And, it's like, that's where his wealth is. Twitter was like his play money. And, like everything that made Elon Musk is like wrapped up in Tesla, and that's hemorrhaging money. And, he still kind of controls the board over there, but the big money, like the BlackRocks and the like, are getting mad. And, so at some point he has to cut bait on this Twitter thing, or does he go all in on being, the edgelord of Twitter? And, nobody wants that either.
Yeah, I don't. So I guess maybe I'll frame the question this way: is like, so my own take has been the status quo went out, and like I guess I'm gonna sell on my own take. It's like, I don't know, man. I feel like a whole nother year. Like it doesn't feel like, it just feels like the status quo. Like it'll be hard to maintain the status quo just because I think Elon Musk is like so destabilizing about it. So probably something, and I don't know what. I hope it leads to something better. I guess back to like Cote's. Like hope. Like I don't know, either like somehow Twitter gets taken, a new owner takes it over, or like it leads to like something just in generally, like there's a thing that emerges that we all think is better. So that's my hope. Cote, what is your thoughts on Twitter?
Well, it's confusing because I feel like it was supposed to go down a month ago and it didn't. And so like there's this continuous cycle of like, and I mean, obviously there's like the moral ethical thing, but there's this continual like, not even like watching Rome burn, but it's just like people keep like, getting ready for Rome to burn and talking about how it's going to burn, and then like things don't happen. And so like in that respect, it is odd, right? However, it hasn't been that long. And so like, I guess you have to think about it in terms of quarters, because that's probably when there's significant like bank loan things you've got to deal with, like as opposed to week or month to month. And so, yeah, like it doesn't seem like, from what I can tell, that that Twitter is creating the kind of environment that advertisers would want to advertise on, which is sort of a problem. And then the other issue is just like, it's hard to know like what value Twitter really gets you in the first place. Like, I often think, especially nowadays, like why don't I just like not use Twitter? But then nothing good or bad happens. It's just kind of neutral. And so it's like, and then I upload a lot of videos there, but if you go do the analysis, it's just like people watch like 5 seconds of it.
Yeah. No one's
like,
there. No one's watching.
Like I feel like there was a point, especially in my career, whatever the point was, where Twitter was incredibly important for my career and me making money and blah, blah, blah. But at this point, I don't really even know. I mean, if I didn't do anything on there, I don't think anything would happen. Right. And part of that is because like I do use the old Mastodon thing, and it is like I'm putting this in air quotes, but I think most all of the tech people are over in Mastodon. You know who's like not over there are like the managers, like the managerial class of tech. Like the people who are over there are all the like individual contributors and maybe team leads and all the like, I don't know how to, like, it's sort of like left-wing tech is over in Mastodon. It's probably also, from people that I follow, but like
Exactly.
it doesn't have like most of the people that I still am interested in seeing what they're doing that are still in Twitter are like the managers and executives and normal types.
But even some of them are like, I mean, not that they're left wing, right wing kind of things, but like
No.
CTO advisor, he made the jump, right?
Yeah,
And to
yeah,
me, there's
And
nobody more in what you're talking about than that.
I think there. I mean, obviously, you can guess that I closely watch on an hourly basis how many followers and notifications I have, because that's the kind of person I am. But I think there's two curious things that have been happening. One, I think in the past week, there's been like a lot of people following me in Mastodon. There was a dead period there for a while. But then also curiously, I've been getting more followers in Twitter than like has happened in a long time. So I don't know what's up with that. But like it is.
But are they human?
I have no idea. I don't really analyze the Mastodon people either. They could be robots as far as I'm concerned.
It's a lot harder over there.
Yeah. But I think I don't know. I mean, I think it's it's impossible to say, right? Because I think what's hard for me to quantify, and it's hard to think about this, is like, so like how morally repugnant is too morally repugnant? Because like a lot of the like stuff that our circle of friends would cite as immoral, like it's not that that's coming to Twitter, it's that it's coming back to Twitter. Like it was there for a long, long time during arguably the height of Twitter times. It still exists in all the other social media. So it's like systems like this can exist with a bunch of bullshit in them and like, disgusting stuff. So how far does one have to go? And I think the distinction is that maybe those other networks are worth advertisers doing like deals with the devil or whatever with, because there's enough eyeballs there. Whereas like at some point, it's not really worth your time and worth the risk to be in Twitter because you don't really get anything from it. Kind of like I was going over, like I don't know about you, Brandon, but Matt and I at some point being external facing, we're going to be in some situation potentially where someone's going to be like, "Oh, you're still in Twitter. You can't come to our conference," or some shit like that. Like I mean, that's.
I don't think that's happening for a while.
I doubt that. I just think I kind of going back to the original thing is like I just like maybe just repeating what I said before. I just think it will be. I doubt like the status quo exists for a year. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Like I can't tell you what. I hope something good happens, but it's equally possible.
Well,
it goes
down. I think this is hopefully, fingers crossed. Hopefully, it's setting up like Uber, where the problematic CEO exits, the janitor CEO comes in, wartime CEO, whatever, that the regular sane CEO takes over and slowly tries to right the ship.
Yeah.
And people kind of stop talking about it, and it continues to hemorrhage money quietly.
Yeah. No, I agree. That would be kind of like, Elon Musk putting in somebody, just we said, to maintain it, and it becomes like a status quo experience. But I don't know. I've up until this week, I've been like, that's what's gonna happen. Now I'm like, I don't know. So we will see. Yeah. We will see. That'll be a fun one for us.
I think everyone's the good fantasy is that old Matt Mullenweg buys it and continues to build his island of late 2000s misfit toys, and
he buys it for $1.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I think you've stumbled upon a great new phrase, Matt Ray, which is janitor CEO. I think instead of wartime CEO, what it actually should have been called was janitor CEO. Just come in and paint all the rocks white. And
hey, we're big on sanitation in this podcast.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do one more on buy sell, then we'll move on. I think this is.
Wait.
This is a layup for you, Matt.
We're all selling.
Yeah, I think next year it will be something. Yeah, something big will happen. I don't know what. All right, so we'll Matt, this is kind of a layup for you, but I thought it was good because I we did some recent interview with Prophecy Labs, and I thought it's kind of married up to this other topic that came up this year that I hated. So there was the whole cloud repatriation. Still can't say it correctly. That was, I think that came out with the A16 blog. That was all a bunch of nonsense, right? So I am 100% selling that. It's like, this is some big new thing. Everyone's moving back from the cloud. But I'm buying managing cloud costs, because which I think is the real problem, right? That's what people really need to do, both in the world I'm in, right, where before you do your migration, like think about what it's going to cost. And then as Matt can tell you, and some of our previous sponsors can tell you, it's like once you're there in the cloud, you do need to keep managing your costs and see what you're spending and do things to keep the cost down. So I'm buying that as a much more FinOps, whatever you want to call it. That needs to become a discipline. That's it's well on the way up on the Gartner Hype Cycle. That's what everyone should be doing. And please, no one send or write any blogs about moving back from the cloud. I don't want to read any of that anymore. That was because
I was going to say, I went on a little rant there about crypto stuff. Would you like to go on a little rant about cloud repatriation?
No, I think I've said. I think there are many episodes. We'll have to find it. You could go back and hear it. I think I did it on a couple of different podcasts too. So there's plenty of me ranting. So Matt, I assume if you're not buying managing cloud costs, you're in serious trouble with your employer. But go ahead, Matt. What are your thoughts?
It is my day job. I think that managing costs makes a lot more sense than repatriation. In the fullness of time, I'm with Jassy. Everything's going to the cloud, and and the point is, like, there's still so much room for optimization that rather than like try to re-architect your world back on-prem, fix what you have. Move into the cloud, lift and shift, and then start optimizing. But it's so easy to make lots of incremental improvements in your cloud consumption, whether it's changing the sorts of instances, switching to SaaSes, whatever it is. It's just it's such low hanging fruit that if you have any sort of cloud spend, you need a FinOps team who can start saving you money.
All right. Call Matt Ray. He'll help you. Matt, Cote, are you buying? Actually, Cote, take the other position. Sell on it just to make Matt angry that you don't believe in it. Just be like, you should just be like, no, put everything in VMware. Run up the bill as much as you want. What are your thoughts, Cote?
But VMware's in the cloud.
Well, first of all, that was a great EVC Matt just said there. Little micro EVC. I liked it. But no, I agree with him. Like, I think I think what you two pulled together here to bring some sort of like principle thing out is like, you should it's probably a good idea to like guide most of your transformation decision stuff based on like cost, which is but then the issue which hopefully Matt and his friends are working on, this is like, well, how do you figure out what it costs? Like, that seems to be like a big mystery of like tracking that down and putting in the work to do it. So like just being able to gather, knowing how much something costs or would cost, or be able to estimate it, like could probably solve a lot of lengthy discussions about things. And so yeah, that seems fine. You got to focus on.
That's good. We ended on a I like it. We did well, at least I did like 4 sells and 1 buy. So that's good. I feel like ending on a positive thing. Now
how about also looking forward? Here's something I think would be fun to hear from Matt Ray over the next year is we all used to work at BMC Software, so that we know that people have always aspired to have cost controls and make decisions based on costs. So it would be great to hear, as you encounter these people who have had these things for a long time, like, why aren't they doing it? Like what's up with the old systems, or do they do it right? Like, do people evolve like the IT accounting stuff they have? How does it work? Like, it's
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate enough to be on kind of the vanguard. I work for Kubernetes cost management, so
sure.
We're not exactly like how's the 390 doing in the cloud? It's it's definitely the more progressive end of the infrastructure.
Yeah. Well, it'd still be nice to get a view into what's going on there, because
eventually, we definitely see plenty of folks who say like the previous generation of tools just don't cut it. Whether it's the cloud cost tools or their sorts of infrastructure that they're moving, but yeah, I don't see people backing off of Kubernetes. So that's That's a data point.
All right. All right, Matt. Well, you have you report in next year, and that'll determine your review whether or not.
Well, I
you
hope
give
I'm
us
still
a-
here. Yeah.
If you give us a good update, we'll keep you on. So, all right. So that's a little bit buy and sell, and I thought maybe we'd spend a few minutes here as we kind of close out. Kind of what are we watching for this year? And so I don't know. These are just maybe topics, things I'm interested in, trying to learn about, trying to see what's going to happen. So I'll fire them out there, and we can talk about any one of them, or you can throw out your own. One is all this WASM WebAssembly. I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of it. It looks really cool. I'm always kind of, I guess I got into technology, at least professionally, around Java. Write once, run anywhere. Like, I'm always down for that. I return to that every time someone says it, and it feels like WASM has a little bit of that, but then been burned by this so many times, it maybe the whole thing just goes away. So I'm watching that one, and then from a company standpoint, Cloudflare is I think a really interesting company. Like, I think they are on the fringe. They're not sort of an AWS or GCP or Azure. So I'm just interested to see what they do. And I thought their whole AWS egress blog about network traffic and how much it costs was excellent. That was probably one of the best pieces of content I saw, certainly from a vendor this year, because it really brought to light a whole bunch of issues. And then finally, I put on here Snowflake. I'm just perpetually Snowflake, it seems like it's making a ton of money. It also feels like in a really competitive space. So I don't know what's going to happen with that one. So those are the three I'm watching. Cote, you have things you're watching, or you want to comment on one of those?
Well, I'm always curious about the M&A stuff, like how that pans out. Because so for example, and always of kind of second tier things like the following that I don't think about till I see a headline. What is it, Coupa or whatever, had a huge multi-billion dollar buyout from Thoma Bravo, or however you say their name. And I've used the Coupa system before, for procurement stuff, and I didn't enjoy it. And so there's all these systems out there that are obviously worth tens, if not 20s of billions of dollars. What's 20s? Well, a lot of money. And it's sort of they're scurrying around there, there's Citrix out there and all these other things. And so I'm always really interested to see what happens with them. And so it seems like it's kind of one of those. I haven't actually thought about this. Let me take a feel of the vibe here. This seems like one of those years where it's sort of things are sort of in a doldrum, so people who have money go out and buy stuff. Now,
private equity, I think you could say that's something to watch, because you're right, economic downturn.
And I guess the only issue there will be if antitrust regulators don't like that, which I think they're always inventing new ways to not like things. So that
well, I like that though. I do like watching. This is the year, definitely watching private equity who gets bought, because I kind of deleted them off with too many topics, but a bunch of stuff got bought, like Citrix. I'm trying to think. There's a whole bunch of stuff got bought by private equity this year, and you're probably right. Probably sets up for next year as well.
And then kind of I mean, as you're saying, that's the thing is usually when a PE firm makes a big buy, I mean, chances are in their PowerPoints and spreadsheets, there's a whole lot more little buys that they have, right? To kind of shore things up. And it'll be fun to check in to see how Matt Ray's friends at Progress are doing. How's that panning out?
That's right.
I think there's a few first and second generation kind of DevOpsy cloud startups that were folded into other organizations, and it'll be maybe 3 to 5 years after that happened, that'll be fun to kind of check in and see how they're doing, how those strategies worked out. So, there'll be M&A stuff that'll be interesting.
All right, Matt, what about you? What's you watching? Any comments on these things, or something you're watching?
So my comment on WASM is I'm excited about WASM, but I think it is a subset of serverless. So whatever whatever you think about serverless,
in the fullness of time, it all becomes serverless.
Well, no. I mean, as a destination for workloads, I think you go your bare metal to your VMs to your containers to serverless, and WASM it kind of injects itself between containers and serverless as another step. So I'm excited about it, but I don't actually expect a huge breakout. I expect it to be just another compelling place to run stuff, and some folks will take advantage of it. And I think there is definitely a lot of good use cases there, but I don't expect it to explode beyond any of its precursors.
Like it.
You know, and then I think we should state the obvious thing. You got these crazy AI things that I like. So much.
Yeah, I
I think once you get to the point where individuals and companies can load like whatever they want into the system to train it or whatever, like then that'll be like, I don't even know what'll happen then.
Yeah.
That'll be
that's
crazy.
a good one. Like I'd say that whole, I guess it's all referred to as generative AI, right? It's the Chat GPT, and then the was it the DALL-E?
Yeah,
image,
and
so,
like I use Midjourney a lot. Like nowadays, it's just like I find myself late at night not going to sleep just using it. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, but I think you know, I think everyone, including myself, has kind of like figured out the max you can do with it at the moment, right? And that's fun. So you can still do some useful things, but until I'm repeating myself, but until you can like feed it information, like huge chunks of information, you can't really do more with it, right? And like there's even limitations of just like, I want to feed it 20 pages of text and have it like rewrite it. Like I don't know if you can. I think if you were a programmer, you could do it because they have APIs. But
well, I think
anyways,
you're hitting on the thing that's most interesting about it is like, I'm really interested to see sort of as like everyone runs through kind of the immediate use cases, right? The adoption of like, first you use it, then you play with it, then you learn the prompts. But like, it's sort of like once everyone sort of consumes that and knows about it, it's like the next thing of people just trying lots of stuff. Cause you got to think like, thousands of people are going to be trying it. You know, hundreds of companies will be started, and out of it will probably pop something that none of us have thought about, right? It's like, what's the new thing that you could do with it that it now exposes that just wasn't possible before? And that'll be, you know, that'll be the exciting part, because I'm already tired of the conversation about like, it's ruining education. There won't be no kids will do English. Like that stuff just works itself out. Like, I just feel like it's just sort of like, we just have to get through that layer to then get to the next thing. And hopefully the next thing's really great, whatever it is. But as we know, it can go either way. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. I don't know, Matt. Matt, you always have an opinion on, you know, rain on the parade, Matt. Like, tell us why the world is ending. Go ahead. I'm going to give you the final word on this. Go ahead.
Well, so I threw some stuff into ChatGPT to help me write a blog post. And it gave me a good skeleton, but once I got into the details, things were really wrong. And so that's what it's good for removing the tedium, right? I knew the outline in my head, and it wrote my outline, which, you know, is that's great. Now I could start editing, but the details were really, really wrong. And so that's my takeaway is like, it's going to remove the tedium, but there's still a lot of room for people who actually know what the hell they're talking about. And that's all there is to it. And for a lot of domains, you don't have to know what the hell you're talking about, and you can get by with like, you know, letting the bot do 99% of the work.
Yeah, if only there was one, like, it's like podcasting. Basically, that's what it is. So it's like, it's just trying to be a podcaster.
It's also why you need to be able to feed it information. Like, if you could feed it, like, you know, all the IDC, Gartner, and Forrester PDFs and Excel spreadsheets you have, you could probably get some pretty, like, I mean, just by summarizing what was written in there, and then also doing things like, you know, instead of having to figure out how to do pivot tables, by having it kind of do stuff for you, like, that would be great. That would solve things. Like, and to your point, I asked it to write predictions for a CIO in 1973. And it very confidently predicted that cloud was an important investment area. So
that would have been like, if only we had started then. Okay, well, that's good. Those are good things. All right, couple more topics and we'll wrap it up. I just threw this in here because I just wanted a reason to talk about this. So the biggest missed opportunities of this year, I just want to complain one more time about Zoom. I just feel like they wasted. They had this massive market cap. There were so many things they could have done, many of which I suggested, but they still could have done something, and they did nothing. Even the company they tried to buy, they weren't allowed to buy them. So I just like, what a waste. You could have done something and you did nothing. So that's my biggest missed opportunity in 2022. Coach Ed, do you have a missed opportunity you want to talk about?
Well, to combine together several things, I think, it's clear now that I don't know, maybe midsummer or so, like Facebook had a big missed opportunity to basically just like clone Twitter and be like, hey, we have all of that here, right? And
We could do that.
they could have learned from Substack that you can actually just pay journalists and interesting people to come write and fill content in your platform. I mean, I know that's a shocking idea for social media
Well, I think
companies.
they did that though and shut it down. They've already ran through that.
They
whole
were
cycle.
busy working on legs.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying they could have spent some effort,
Yeah.
instead of on the other stuff too, because clearly there was a hole there for people. To,
Yeah,
to
I
go
mean,
towards.
I saw a couple of folks mention Facebook when the Twitter stuff started, and people mostly just get kind of laughed out. I think that ship has sailed.
Well, just one more digging in on this. Like, for example, Instagram is fine. And it is a Facebook thing, so they can make a whole other parallel universe to kind of launder out the Facebook stuff. But anyways, the point being that it does seem like that would just be better effort spent than
They should have done something. I think you're right. Like whether it was Instagram, working on the metaverse during this seemed like a missed opportunity. I like that. Like, that's a good. Did you have another one? Was another one you were going to say, Kote?
No, I
think you had
agree.
one more.
I mean, I agree with you on the Zoom thing. It seems like that's some opportunity to capitalize on stuff. And I guess it's only late breaking news, but it seems like, I don't know, is like, are Salesforce and Slack doing things? Is that working?
Yeah, I don't
out?
know. That's an interesting. I think we'll have to watch that this next year. But there's clearly something going on there with all the management changes and Slack's sort of it sounds like Benioff didn't want it.
Or is it just the golden handcuffs? Have
It
come
seems
off
like
and
it's
people
more
are
though
really-
when you read through it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I know. Hey, stay tuned. This is a reason everyone should listen to Software Defined
So
Talk
exciting.
in 2023. We'll cover this when we actually know what's going on. Matt, did you have any missed opportunities?
No, I
review?
totally agree with Zoombox.
All right. Well, let's end on a positive note because we work in the world of digital transformations, and I want to single out the ones that I saw. I always like the ones that are just sort of I don't know, they're not the Netflix, Uber examples. They're quote unquote regular companies doing regular things. So I guess the SAT that's going to go online in 2024. So I'm that seems pretty great. Kids don't have to have a number 2 pencil, be shepherded into a specific school to take it on a specific day. Now everyone can enjoy the joys of the SAT.
You don't take it from home though.
I know, but still, at least they can
Yeah.
take it online and there isn't all this crazy. So I thought
Right.
that was a good one. I don't know if it's over, but I just want to say, I don't know what his official title is. It's I think he's it's somewhere in Japan. I'm just gonna call him the CIO of Japan when he's his war on floppy disk. I'm we need more of you out there. We need people just getting it done,
But conversely, I really enjoyed the story about the company that's still making floppy disks for
That's
everybody.
true. That was a good story. That person, and kudos to them for hanging in there. But hey, good luck, Mr. CIO in Japan. Get that war on floppy disk.
And the thing is, if you got those two folks together, they'd probably have a great old time.
That's true.
yeah.
That's probably true. And then finally, I'll say, looking forward, the digital transformation in 2023 that I'm most looking forward to is theoretically we'll be able to have instant transfers, I guess, via the new ACH system here in the United States, which I realize for all of our international listeners is, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years behind what you have.
Yeah.
But we don't have it. And if we ever did get it, it will be great. So that's a forward-looking one. I hope it actually happens. And Kote, it looks like you've got one that you want to talk about.
Well, I don't know this. I don't think this was released this year, but however, I think it is representative of a successful digital transformation story in that it just keeps working. And that is, I had to renew my global entry thing, and you go to the DHS site, and it's not the most attractive site, but you just fill it out, and then it works, and that's
There
it.
you go.
You can
well
get
done.
this vital part of identification for an American that allows you to enter the country, as long as you pass the fruit inspectors afterwards. But allows you to enter the country, and you just basically fill out a web form, and that's it. Unlike, I won't name names of other departments. Unlike other departments, which are a little more intense
State Department.
to
Passports, citizenship.
maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Who
Something
knows?
like
We
that.
don't know. Who could say?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just tag on that one. I do think I've mentioned on the show this year. It's not technically digital transformation, I guess, or maybe it is. I just thought the whole idea of interviews on demand. So I know both Cote and Matt, you're both flying here in the United States. So if for some reason you
kind of try
are,
it. I'll
if you're
report back
looking
next
for
year.
to renew your global entry, just as you go through the Austin, wherever you, if you will, come into the United States, just ask them if they have the on-demand interviews. It's just fantastic. It was great.
Yeah, they have them.
So,
I'm signing up my kids for when we fly through LA.
all right. Well, good luck. I hope it happens.
We'll see if it happens. We got about 2.5 hours between flights. So
that's easy. That'll be nothing. That'll be a great time. All right. Well, then finally, I guess we'll just wrap it up here. It's been another, I'll just thank all the listeners like we do every year. We should do it every episode, but it's been a good year here at Software Defined Talk. We've had a bunch of listeners. We actually got out in the world again. Matt Ray officially attended the Detroit KubeCon.
I went and got COVID.
Yeah, and again, you would think with that much effort and travel, he would have gotten an acceptable performance review, but it didn't happen. So hopefully, it just shows that hopefully Matt needs to work harder next year. So
old man Richard riding me hard.
No, I like it, but it's been fun. Of course, it's been a lot of fun to interact. And again, the Slack, maybe that's what I should have said. It's like, hey, the Software Defined Talk Slack is just every year it gets better. It's more and more fun for me. Lots of channels in there. The sports channel, I love it on the weekends. I feel like if there's ever a college football cloudcast podcast needed, like I have a team of people ready to go. Like I know exactly who to call if we want to do that. So I've enjoyed all the listeners. I don't know, Cote, you have any comments before we wrap up here with conferences?
No, I think I agree. It's always, I go into the Slack thing every day to see what people are up to. That's fun. I was thinking, we didn't elect a lot of questions, but maybe we should open up more regularly to questions and the mailbag responses to our stuff here. We never get that kind of feedback, and it's just it's easy content to make.
Yeah. I think we don't have a group. I think other people have more people that are more willing to write in questions. So we'll have to see. I don't know. And I wish we had more people that want to, or maybe people think we don't read them, or maybe people don't have questions. But we'll figure it out. We'll take that as an action item.
I'm sure I've said things over the years, probably even last week, where I'm like, I don't want to hear what anyone's thoughts are, and so like that might be a little off-putting.
It's true. All right, Cote, if people want to see, I don't know, maybe you in person or other people in person, what conferences should they go to?
Well, there's next month now. There's that conference in Round Rock, January 15th and 18th. You can get 5% off with the code SDT. I think it's at the big fried calamari water park over there, which you can enjoy. I hear it's lovely. Brandon was there. It looked nice. Lots of ferns, good lighting. I enjoyed that. Also, coming up after that, I believe it's maybe January 23rd or 25th or something. You can go find the dates somewhere in that week. We're having our conference Spring One. It's going to be online, so it's free to attend. So I don't have a discount code. You can go to spring1.io, and I've been looking through some of the presentations, even some recordings here and there. It's going to be great. Now, here's the number one reason why you should attend. Well, in my opinion, is I was helping out with the MCs, and it looks like a joke of mine involving a leftover kale salad deploying code has made it into the final cut. So if you go to spring1.io, you can just watch at least the keynotes that we have and see what a leftover kale salad can do for you. So you should check that out. Now, also, there's the State of OpenCon in London, February 7th to 8th. You've got the Cloud Native Security Conference, in Seattle, February 1st and 2nd. And then in Alabama, DevOps Days, Birmingham, Alabama, 2023. And I did see, I got accepted to talk at a conference in, I don't know how to say it, Zadar, Croatia in September. So maybe we should get that one off there.
That's a good one. That's I like it. I have to get the international approval for that travel. Love it.
Yeah, it's all international for Cote.
All right. Well, listen, I also got a couple questions. So thanks for those that sent it in. Also want to thank Leslie. They wrote in and I sent them a sticker. They're in Colorado. If you would like a sticker, we've renewed the budget for next year. So looks like we can send as many stickers as we want. So if you want a sticker, this is what you have to do. Send your postal address to stickers@softwaredefinedtalk.com, and I will be happy to send you a sticker anywhere in the world.
Well, speaking of stickers, Brandon, do you have any recommendations that you think should stick around?
I've kind of got sucked into this Echo 3 show on Apple TV. So it's Apple TV Plus. And so it's kind of starts as like your fairly traditional international thriller. And I guess I'm only 4 episodes in. So I haven't seen the final couple episodes, but I like it. It's sort of like it's a familiar story, which I like. I'm always in for like some international thriller, but then they're doing some things that I think are a little bit different. So hopefully it ends strong. So I'm gonna be watching that, and if you're looking for something to watch over the holidays, probably check it out. I think it'll finish here in a couple weeks, so you can just binge it. And then I know I recommended this already, but I would just say if you were on the fence about White Lotus, I actually thought it was great. It's all done now, so you can go to HBO and stream the whole thing. I thought the ending was really good. I thought the whole show was really good. So if you're looking for something to watch over the holidays and you've not started White Lotus, watch that one as well.
I'm watching season 1 now. So
solid. Well, how about yourself, Matt Ray?
So since this is the year end, looking forward, my pick for the year is I went and signed up for the Triple Trail Challenge, which is a series of half and full ultra trail marathons. And I don't know what I was thinking, but that's what I'm doing in 2023 is running around in the woods a lot.
I think pretty much everyone that I know who signs up for like outdoor activities, marathon stuff, the first phrase out of their mouth is, "I don't know what I was thinking." They should just that should be like a new Nike slogan for people is
just do it because you don't know any better.
Yeah, just I don't that would be a fun cinematic Nike ad, and the punchline is, "I don't know what I was thinking."
Well, yeah, I mean, I ran a half marathon this year, and I was like, this isn't so bad, and then. Now I'm looking at them like there's a big difference between 21 kilometers and 44 on a trail.
Oh,
so we're talking like 2 hours versus 6 hours.
Yeah. I thought when you started to say the trail challenge, I thought it was going to be like making and tasting trail mix, but unfortunately, no.
That I could handle.
Yeah, that would be good. Well, my recommendation, it just came out, is the. So in the new, version of, I don't know, iOS and Mac OS and iPad OS, there's this app called Freeform, which if you've heard about it, you probably were thinking, I wonder if Cote is going to try that out. Because what it is basically like, it's kind of like the infinite Miro board sort of situation. And you can draw on it with your Apple Pencil. You can put sticky notes on it, and you can put these text boxes on it. And there's also some shapes. There's a pretty extensive library of shapes that you can put in there, including like people and stuff. And it synchronizes between all your stuff. It seems okay. It's still not like this dream that I'm looking for a note-taking thing. Primarily because the text system is not very good. But I don't know. It's kind of worth looking at. It's like a very typical like Apple 1.0 product, which is sort of like, oh, if you just would have worked on this for 3 more hours, it would be perfect. But we'll see.
Always 1.1, right?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, I think all they really need to do, the other situation with it is like, you got to think whoever's on the notes team, if they actually staff it, is kind of like those fuckers over there. Like it's because it's kind of pretty much the same thing. And Freeform should just more be a feature of notes. But I'm sure, in the lunchroom, there must be lots of fights about this. Ooh. But it's fun. It's good to look at. Now, the thing that I want to test it out more of is like, if you do stuff on the iPad, how does it translate to working on your desktop then? Like, is that a good flow between things? And speaking of flows between things, I think we've flown to the end of this episode. And we have a few more that you'll be hearing through the rest of the year, kind of interview episodes. I've got a fun one that I recorded with Barton, our friend, as we mentioned last episode, who has a Harvard MBA. John Travolta's father-in-law once slept in his driveway in Hawaii as well. You should get him to tell that story at some point. It's a good one. And we'll have a few other ones. And with that, we'll see everyone next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, excellent episode, Cote. Looked like you were wearing down there. You okay? You can clear the throat. Felt like I was trying to jump in, but I was like, I don't know. Looks like he's almost done. Should I get in there? Should I wait? I don't know. So, good job. Got it to the end. So
I don't know what's up with my congestions.
All right. Well, hey, thanks to all the streamers who are watching. Brian, I don't know if you were on the beginning. We did use your question on, so I appreciate you actually sending in a question. It was very, very good, and I appreciate everyone that has taken the time to either watch the stream or watch us on YouTube or things like that. You are truly the super fans of Software Defined Talk. And with that, everyone have a happy New Year. And we will probably be back recording maybe the second week of January. But if not, just watch the Twitch, watch the YouTube. I'm sure it will notify you. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.